Hello, good evening, and welcome to On the Time Lash, Get to Flux, Chapter 4. Chapter 4? Yes, it's Chapter 4.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry, we tried something a little different rather than me fucking around with various slides and music cues. I did it all as a video, and then I
Nice.
forgot to do any of the little overlay signage that we had made, which
That's
is
all right.
namely On the Time Lash Get to Flux, live with Ben and Mark. This episode,
And
the
we're- yeah.
Daleks Master Plan, parts 1 to 6.
Perfect, which is what we're doing, because
Should we just do it again? Should we just start again? Should we just start again? And then when Mark comes to so cleanly and wonderfully as he does edit the actual audio, it will start like now. Or should we just do it again?
Sure, why not?
I can't believe I watched the Polis box.
Fucking
their
seamless,
live
weren't they?
podcast
Seamless.
in order to get like ideas on how to be more professional. And it's, if anything, On the Time Lash has just gotten worse. Right, bear with me. Let's start that again. Let's start that again. Okay. Okay.
Hello again.
That's what it was supposed to look like. It was supposed to look like
good.
that.
It looks good. Welcome to On the Time Lash, Get to Flux, Chapter 4. Even though it was on the screen, I forgot what chapter we're on. And we're going to be covering the Daleks Master Plan, parts 1 to 6, because the idea behind this whole event series, to use a quite optimistic and upper self term, because there's only about 6 people, if that, watching this stream, was that obviously Flux is the first time that modern Doctor Who has kind of done a prolonged story, and the Daleks Master Plan is the first time that classic Doctor Who does something similar. So we've paired Flux up with the Daleks Master Plan, and because the Daleks Master Plan is quite unwieldy, but also because the genesis of the Daleks Master Plan is quite interesting, in the sense that it was always intended as a kind of 6-parter that became a kind of, well, essentially a 13-parter because of the Mission to the Unknown. We're splitting it up. So we're doing these sort of Terry Nation episodes today, and then in 2 weeks' time, we're going to do the Dennis Spooner episodes. I'm Mark. I'm sure you already know that. I'm joined, as ever, by my good friend Ben Verth. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing? Are you all right?
Yeah, not bad. I've yeah.
Good. Well, that's that out of the way. Let's get on with the show.
So I don't know what to say. It's a new sonic screwdriver. Who cares? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's the big thing that's come out of, well, not even come out of San Diego Comic-Con. All the good stuff got announced before the actual Comic-Con.
It's always the way. I got an email yesterday, which was, oh, we really need you in on Saturday and Sunday to cover Star Trek's Comic-Con reveals. However, we're going to get a PR email at some point on Friday, so we'll just tell you what you need to cover. It's like, all right, fine. It's handy because you're not like kind of, I suppose, chasing yourself to cover these things. But yeah.
At the risk of turning this from a Doctor Who podcast into a Star Trek podcast, is anything juicy that you know in advance?
There is, but I can't possibly tell you in public. But I'll tell you once we've stopped recording.
Okay. All right, Daleks Master Plan. It's interesting what you're talking about. That we're only going to do the first 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of research for this, just because I like doing the deep dive on the episodes, and you hear the same story over and over again, but it can't be the case that the reason that it went from 6 episodes to 12 episodes is because Hugh Weldon the controller of programs for the BBC at the time, his mother-in-law, whom he considered to be the finger on the pulse of just the average person watching television, liked the Daleks, asked, why are the Daleks not on more often? And so she got her wish. Like he
so
went,
weird,
if you got a Dalek story coming up, okay, double it. Whatever it is, double it. And that's why that can't be, that feels like one of those things that was like a fan, rumor in the 80s, but by now, surely Richard Bignell or Andrew Pixley should have discovered that that's an actual fact bullshit. And it was always going to be 12 episodes. It's just one of those, like one of those rumors, like the reason the 3 Doctors happened was because William Hartnell just kind of touted round the Doctor Who offices looking for work. Remember that? Like, I think Terrence Dix at some point was passing out that rumor, but like the idea that we have 12 episodes because somebody's mother-in-law was just like, nah, make it more.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's like my mother-in-law really likes the Daleks, so and we have the Daleks Master Plan. It's the longest, most elaborate my mother-in-law joke in Doctor Who history, I suppose. The Daleks Master Plan. So there we go.
So there we are. We've got a few. Welcome the people having a bit of a watch. Polis Box. Lee, you watched us for tips on how to be professional and things got worse. No one saw that coming. Least not me, Lee. Least not me. And also, he asks about your afternoon at the theatre, Mark. I hope Mark enjoyed his trip to see Tommy today. But without Bobby, can we truly say it's canon? What were you up to this afternoon?
I went to see Legends of Variety at the Darlington Hippodrome. And Tommy Cannon was kind of down as sort of special guest / compere.
Yeah.
And obviously, Ben, you know way more than I do about comparing an event. But I would argue that maybe the best thing not to do while you're trying to G an audience up for an afternoon of comedy is to reference your dead comedy partner.
Wow.
So it comes on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm doing Les Dawson. I'm not doing Tommy Cannon. I realize this now.
You're just a generic Northern club.
Just comic. A generic Northern comic. It's like, it's such an honor to be back here in Darlington, 31 years after Bobby and I last tread these boards doing the panto. And I'll tell you, one night, Bobby passed out in the wings there. And I was like, oh, come on, Bobby, stop messing about. But he wasn't messing about. He's quite unwell. We had to cancel the panto for a week. But thankfully, he pulled through and he lived for another few years until he died at the age of 76.
Anyway, here's your first fact, please.
That was genuinely Anyway, here's two very funny guys. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Grumbleweeds.
Fucking hell. Oh, mate, I was so jealous when I saw that.
It was
I don't know why.
Extraordinary.
Billy Pearce was on the bill. And Billy Pearce is a compere. Like he's a very good variety compere. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was a very strange afternoon because the other thing is, so Anita Harris was the fucking musical guest, I guess, in the old school sort of variety mold. And I can't remember what song it was she was singing, but she's like, my loves, out there, hold your husband or hold your wife close. Now, I'll tell you now, Ben, this was an audience who was very much there with their younger children because their partner or husband had died.
Ooh,
I tripped over about 6. I tripped over about 6 walkers just to get to my seat. So the whole thing of like, any married couples in the house? No, one of us is dead.
Oh no, that's
extraordinary.
I can see why it was an afternoon show. I can
oh god, yeah.
I can see why it was done and dusted by 5, and everyone was in bed for 5:30.
It was done and dusted by 4:20, which annoyed me because I missed my train because my train was at 4:22. Just had to go to the pub in it. So it's not the end of the world, I suppose.
Oh, God bless him! What a story. Anita Harris. Who else was on? The Grumbleweeds. Anita Harris.
The Grumbleweeds,
Pierce,
Anita
Tommy
Harris,
Cannon.
Bernie Clifton.
Brilliant.
Bernie Clifton was there with Sans Ostrich.
Nay Ostrich.
He just had a shopping cart full of props.
I would have loved to have seen this. This is right up my street.
I know. I was like, oh, Ben would have loved this.
Fucking hell. All right, brilliant. What a way. From one retro take on entertainment to another retro take on entertainment.
Yes, I hope to channel some of the spirit of variety in tonight's On the Time Lash live stream.
Right, cool. I'm gonna we'll do the stats then, shall we?
Yes.
And it's all fancy pants. I've worked out a fancy way of doing it. We've got the title, The Daleks Master Plan, episodes 1 to 5, written by Terry Nation, episode 6 by Dennis Spooner. And we've got a little ticker tape with all the details underneath it, which is great. Episodes: Nightmare Begins, The Day of Armageddon, Devil's Planet, The Traitors, Counterplot, and Coronas of the Sun. Those are the episodes that we're going to be talking about. And it was broadcast from the 13th of November 1965 to the 18th of December 1965. So we're doing everything up to the dreadful Christmassy bit. And it was watched by 9.1, 9.8, 10.3, 9.5, 9.9, and 9.1 million viewers. Pretty successful. I don't know if I should say it now or we should save it for next week. The whole reason that there was a Christmas episode is because it was going to be on a Christmas day. They didn't want to use that installment to further the plot any, because they didn't think that people would be watching it or able to watch it, but it's not there. But it's like 8 million viewers tuned in for the Feast of Stephen, so it's only a drop of like maybe 1 million viewers. They could have just cut out the whole Christmas crap and just did an actual episode of the Daleks Master Plan.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird that, because I think one of the complaints I remember for like stuff like The Time of the Doctor and Twice Upon a Time is from fans going, I don't want to have to watch Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi's last ever episodes with my in-laws, or with my relatives who won't be able to shut the fuck up for 60 minutes. Whereas in the 60s, they kind of had that, oh, well, nobody's going to be watching it, so we don't want to put anything important in. Yeah. It's interesting kind of how TV habits changed, whereas kind of, in the 21st century, it's all about kind of having those big sort of TV moments on Christmas Day that gets everybody around the TV. Whereas in 1965, it's fucking just cross them over with Z cars and have them running around the fucking old film set, and then we'll stick the Daleks back in on New Year's Day. Yeah.
Which even that episode is kind of like half
it's a bit
plot and half still pissing about.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the stats. That was the paperwork. Now it's time for the fun. Let's play.
Once got a letter from Colin Baker. He's the dyslexia fun maker.
All right, it's Degsy's quiz game thing. So, Mark, walk us through it, because I'm going to open my delightful drink.
So, Degsy's quiz game thing. It is a bit of a quiz, a bit of a game, and a bit of a thing. So, anybody that was perhaps not overly delighted with Dwordle will be pleased to know that an old favourite returns for the game in this half. But first of all, we've got the quiz. So the quiz this time around, the topic is the Second Doctor Adventures. So I've got 3 questions for Ben. Ben has 3 questions for me. The scores are currently, because Derek has messaged me, the Dexessio Fun Maker has contacted me with the scores. So the scores are currently 10 to Ben and 9 to me. So
delightful.
only 1 point in it. So there's all to play for. So yeah, I guess I'll start with the questions. Second Doctor Adventures. Ben Verth, who was Molly Dawson?
Molly Dawson. Who's Molly Dawson? Oh, I feel like I know that. Molly Dawson. Is that the is it the girl that helps Polly in the Highlanders?
Unfortunately not. No, it is Theodore Maxtable's maid in
Yes, it is.
1866 in
Yes,
Evil of
it
the
is.
Daleks.
Yes, it is. I knew it was one of those like early Troughton, missing Troughton characters. Okay, Mark, who was Nurse Pinto? Who was
Nurse Pinto. Now, I think, but is she like one of the sort of medical staff in Salamander's kind of commune in The Enemy of the World?
No. She is a nurse who helped the Doctor infiltrate the Chameleon's satellite.
Right, okay. It's because I think what I've done there is I've taken Pinto
Gotten it wrong.
and Patrick Troughton's weird Mexican voice.
Yeah, I can see the racial, the racist connection.
I think that's what I've done there. I'll hold my hands up. I'll hold my hands up to that. It's fine.
Spent too much time with Tommy Cannon.
Okay. So, question number 2. Who was Medoc? Or is it Medoc? No, Medoc.
Medoc's the big guy that runs the colony in the Macra Terror, isn't he? Or he's not the guy that runs it, but he's the big. Is it Paul Whitson Jones? No, I can't.
I mean, I would give you the point here.
He's the lawgiver guy from the big fat security bloke from the Macra Terror.
So basically, the answer Derek has given me is a member of the colony that is threatened by the Macra. So I think you've given that answer. That's fair enough.
Thanks very much. Okay, Mark, who was Axus? Who was Axus? Axus rather than Axos.
Was he the Ice Lord?
No.
In the Seeds of Death?
No, he is a Gond who lived under the enslaving regime of the Crotons.
God damn.
It's, I mean, it's a fairly standard reaction to the mention of the Crotons.
Yeah, I fucking hate the Crotons.
Crotons.
It's mad to me that was at one point that was the only existing Patrick Troughton story.
Yeah.
Mental.
That was your five faces right there.
Yes, it was, yeah.
That was your representative of the late 60s.
Okay, so who was Donald Bruce?
Oh, Donald Bruce is the Australian guy in The Enemy of the World. He's Donald Bruce is like the goody. Oh fuck! What would he do? He like works for Salamander, but then like he's actually a goody.
So I'm going to leave this to the Dexessio filmmaker. The answer is the security chief of the World Zone Authority in Enemy of the World.
Yeah, who's he played by? He's played by the bloke that's on Hancock's Half Hour. He's just like, it's not helping not having his name, but what's his name? I got it, Donald Bruce.
I mean, I think you probably got the point,
Bruce.
But I'm gonna let the Dexessio filmmaker intervene.
Okay, and he has done. Bonus cue. What does SIDRAT stand for?
Oh,
was that so that I can have
I think that's for either of us, is it?
Well, we've not finished.
Or is that just for you?
Yeah, well, it's not okay. Tell you what, we'll do the questions because I've got one more for you.
Oh, sorry. Right. Okay.
And then we'll do the bonus. So, Mark, who was Megan Jones? We've had a Molly. Who was Megan Jones?
Oh, she's not like a secretary or something at Electro Oh God, what the hell's the name of that company? In the Invasion.
International Electronatics.
That's the
in the
one.
Invasion.
Thank you.
No, she's the chairperson of the refinery board in Fury from the Deep.
Oh, right. Of course she is. Christ. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so Derek has said, what does Sidrat stand for? That is a question for both of us, and we need to write it down.
Oh, okay.
So
Where's my pen? All right, hang on. I'll just type it on my phone.
It is. Okay.
Oh God. I mean, I don't think this is right. I started off really confident, and then I was like, "Nah, that's not it."
Yeah. Okay. What have you got?
So my answer that I put down is situational interdimensional relocation transport. I've just put a bunch of words that mean the same thing. Essentially, is what I've done there.
So you got to say mine with an accent.
Right. Okay.
Like a Dundonian accent. Sideways in the ratio of time. Sideways in the ratio of time. The actual answer is space and intertime dimensional robot all-purpose transporter. That was not up there. I did not know.
Of course, it trips off the tongue, doesn't it? Trips off the tongue. Balls.
Perfect. Okay, so that was the quiz. We're onto the game.
So the game, which is a welcome return for.
Jeez, 2-0 Ben.
2-0 Ben.
Well, now we know his favourite then, don't we?
I'm sorry I've let you down, Derek. I'm sorry. So it's a welcome return for Dexy's Where Did They Come game. Took a deep breath there to give it the full.
You put your back into it, and
I did.
Like you put your back out as well.
Because we're doing Classic Doctor Who, which means that it is on the big Doctor Who poll, which was the last poll we were using, and it's out of 295. 195. Yes, so it's 195. The Daleks Master Plan, Ben Verth. Where do you think it comes?
Ooh. I think it's too big and unwieldy for people to be like, this is my favorite one. But people love it, I think. Like, it generates a lot of appreciation and fan artwork. And like, I think it was great. Overall, I think everything's really brilliant about it. So I'm going to say it's probably somewhere like 45.
Okay. Interesting. Because, it is really well regarded for something that obviously only has, 3 episodes existing? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, so you said, what was it, 45?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I still feel that that's quite high for a missing. Derek just messaged me to say it is 295. It is 295. So it's at 295. And it's going to be, I think, quite high above that. I'm going to go with 67. And an answer should pop into the chat from the Dexestio Funmaker.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, it's 44 between Morbius, 43, and Mummy on the Orient Express at 45. Well, shit my pants and ask me to leave your dinner party. I won that one.
Well done, man. That is pretty much spot on.
Happy for
You
that.
are the beating heart of Doctor Who fandom. You've got your finger on the. You're like fucking Hugh Weldon's. Oh, you've got your finger on the pulse.
got the finger on the pulse of Hugh Weldon's mother-in-law, right? Cool. All right. Well, and we got. Oh, sorry, we got one more. Sorry, we've had the
We've
quiz.
got
had
the thing.
So, thing time.
By means of introduction, anybody that follows Ben and I on Twitter may have thought that the two of us had gone insane this week, as we sort of, I think, kind of went on an increasingly we went an increasingly insane odyssey, Twitter odyssey, to try and get Doctor Who actors to respond to us, which was at the behest of the Diggs SEO Funmaker, who challenged us to get as many responses from Doctor Who actors on Twitter as we could. So it was, if I remember rightly, was it 2 points for a reply?
Yeah.
1 point for a retweet, 1 point for a like.
Yeah.
I think. So that's why we went slightly insane this week, but it was actually genuinely quite a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because I think there was that element of kind of us all knowing that it was only the three of us that kind of knew what was really going on, and it was just that kind of weird thing of what other people might kind of be seeing from an outside perspective.
I mean, I enjoyed that. There was a definite competitive spirit between the two of us. I felt dirty sometimes. Like,
because the problem is, right? The problem is that to do that, to get a response from a Doctor Who actor or any actor, anybody in the public eye on social media, there is a bit of ball tickling, a bit of ego stroking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're going to just cycle through. Well, we've got a couple of dishonorable mentions each, and obviously the kind of winning entries, I guess you could call them. So we'll just quickly cycle through those now.
So we'll go through your first, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to go with the two that I failed to get responses for that I thought, I was like, nah, come on, this is going to work. So the first one, if Ben's got the slide there, was to Colin Baker, which I tweeted him a picture of a very dodgy looking Chinese. I swear it didn't look that dodgy when I used to go there. But a Chinese takeaway in High Wycombe that I used to frequent every Sunday evening whilst I was the film and TV school. So I tweeted him and said, I had a Chinese takeaway on Sunday night and had a Proustian memory of those Sundays during my film school degree where I'd sit waiting on salt and pepper squid at the Peking House in High Wycombe, reading Sawbones Hex's column in the Bucks Free Press, which is genuinely true. That is what I used to do pretty much every Sunday night in High Wycombe.
This was the second day of doing it, I think, or like towards the end of the second day of doing it.
Yeah.
And this is when I think we both were like, oh, it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna
we were like pinwheeling. We're like, come on.
It's not. We can't just go. We like what you. Just the stretching here.
And I genuinely thought that the fact that I referenced Proust, and also mentioned Colin Baker's column, which, incidentally, mentioning Colin Baker's column is what got John Barrowman in trouble in the first place. But I thought that would have got me a response. But
I think you just saw that you have salt and pepper squid, mate, and just went, "What the fuck even is that? Forget it.
Maybe.
Don't block that guy."
But
so nothing from that.
There was an element of kind of trying to make conversation with people after the party's over.
Yeah.
Because Twitter's kind of in its sort of final days.
It's amazing how many people like. So I said that I felt dirty doing it because you'd it would spring into your head, oh, that person will be on Twitter, go looking for them, and then you got to study their form, like you're betting on the horses, like how often do they reply, how often do they retweet, when was the last time, and so there's all these people who've it's just like Twitter. I think even before the Elon Musk takeover, but like Twitter, it's like anyone who stands to lose anything has left Twitter so that they cannot be cancelled.
Doctor Who actors can't lose anything.
That's like
they'll still get booked.
So that all that was left is this very brave core of people who are either too stupid to know otherwise, or just are actually cast iron, the nicest people in the world.
Yes. So then the second one, which follows the theme, was was it Dylan who messaged? We've got a group chat with several other Doctor Who podcasts, and I think it was Dylan had messaged us a screenshot of a tweet that somebody had sent to Nicola Bryant, which was basically this guy kind of showing off his 3 dogs because she fucking loves dogs.
Oh, it was desperate.
And you tweeted her a fucking belter, which I don't know if you got a screenshot of, but you should.
I tweeted Nicola Bryant, did I?
Yeah, you were. It was something like, Nicola, I know this sounds insane, but can you sell an argument?
I completely forgot that one. I completely forgot.
Pip and Jane Baker were like wrestlers.
Yeah, okay. So I was like, okay, well, you seem to be going for like the reverential appreciator of the body of work that these actors stood for. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get in with like a wee fucking stupid thing. And I have had a reply from Nicola Bryant before, and I was like, okay, maybe she, Anyway, so I said, a mate of mine, Nicola, can you just, a mate of mine, and he won't let it go. Like, he swears blind that Pip and Jane Baker, before they became TV writers, used to be on the semi-pro tag wrestling circuit, and their names were Pip and Payne, the back-breaking Bakers. Is there anything in this? Nothing. Fuck all. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing from her.
I messaged you to say how brilliant that was, and then you were like, "Oh, I'm a ball hair away from sending her dog photos." I was like, "That's fucking genius," because I've got a dog. So I sent her a photo of like the title sequence. I don't even think it was my TV. Now that I think about it, I think that's actually Dylan Reese's TV. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. Anyway, so I sent her a photo of that.
Photoshopped. It's a composite picture of somebody else's telly and your dog.
And my dog. And said, sorry, Nicola Bryant, Billy wasn't all that impressed by Time Lash, but he does agree that Perry deserves a more heroic ending than marriage to Brian Blessed, though. No response.
I wouldn't respond either. What an opinion
she sees through
dog you've got.
She sees through this fucking dog thing now. She sees through it. She's got all Doctor Who fans sending her pictures of dogs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're up to.
Forget it.
But the successful entry. So again, tickling the balls, stroking the ego. There's a guy who, so Richard Price, he was a monster actor during the Jodie Whittaker era. And he seemed to do a thing on Twitter, and it was literally today that I remembered this. Every time an episode he either was in or had a vague connection to, he would post something on Twitter saying, I'm going to do a Doctor Who giveaway, where he would like give away like signed photos and like signed action figures and stuff, and kind of go, like and retweet or whatever. Right? So I was like, that guy, that's the guy. That's the guy I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah.
So I tweeted him. If you got the image there, Ben. Oh,
sorry. That's
a picture of Dylan Reese's opinions on the Vanquishers.
That's funny. Is it again? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I sent you that
sent
wrong.
To me as one Richard Price.
Oh
so
shit!
That's what you sent to me. So I don't have that. What's the second one? Okay.
Oh no, that was it.
Okay, so I've got 3 Richard Prices here, so I'll just delete the First Richard.
Yeah, with the errant Richard Price.
Yeah, okay.
So I tweeted saying John Levine went from monster actor to human regular. Have any modern Doctor Who monster performers done this? Maybe Richard Price could be the new Sergeant Benton in the rumored unit spin-off. I was like, right, that's going to get a response, right? Although my favorite response to this was not from Richard Price, it was from Phil Newman, who tweeted, human regular? And not that one, but
Right, okay.
and I was like, yes, that is a stretch for John Levine. Anyway, so Richard Price responded with, sign me up already. I'd say yes. We know you would. We know you would, and that's fine. And best of luck to you. However, I did think it was funny that the other response I got from a fan was this. Can we just have John Levine pop up as old Benton? If an actor is still alive, use the original one. I didn't mean like literally. I didn't mean like a Star Trek Strange New Worlds John Benton. I just meant, he's the new guy that was a monster and is now a regular actor in the show. So I think that's 2 points to me. Is that right, Ben?
So you got a reply from Richard, but you also got likes as well.
I did get a like and retweet from Richard, but I don't know if the reply sort of circumvents the like and retweet.
No, I don't think so, because you're able to do everything. I think you get the 2 points plus another 2 points. Like, so Richard Price is helping you clean up there.
Quite possibly.
Derek can have the final say, but I feel like because you can do all of those things, you got all of those things. So
the next one, I think, is it Mark Gatiss next?
Yeah.
No, because I want to build to Jonathan Watson, which may seem insane, but honestly, it's got a great punchline. So Mark Gatiss, I tweeted Mark Gatiss, and I've got a pretty good hit rate tweeting Mark Gatiss. I tweeted him once before, saying that the time was right for his Peladon sort of Brexit satire, and this was like back in 2016, and he's like, don't think I haven't thought of it. And then 2 years later we get fucking Empress of Mars. So I tweeted Mark Gatiss, having seen the phenomenal Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I tweeted him and asked, hi Mark, I really loved your cameo in Mission Impossible 7. What are the differences between working with Tom Cruise and working with Bill Baggs? To which Mark replied that both sort of, I guess, iconoclastic filmmakers are remarkably similar. So yeah, I think that's another one in the pocket for me.
That's five. That's 5. I'm making it 5.
And then my final, and basically this is going to be up to an umpire's decision because of what happened afterwards. So Jonathan Watson, who Ben has written for, I would say, is that right?
Yeah.
So Scottish comedian,
television legend.
Yes, Scottish television legend who Ben and I grew up watching. I was like, right, come on, this is the guy. I can definitely do something here. So I sort of wrote a kind of, as Ben said earlier, a reverential tweet about Jonathan Watson's work, which went as follows. I feel Jonathan Watson never gets enough praise as an actor. The range on the guy, who else could play a warmongering jack of potato, a lascivious footballer, an up himself next door neighbour, and an assistant to a cheeseburger tycoon? To which Jonathan Watson replied with an emoji of a potato, a football, a house, a burger, and little prayer hands, as if to say,
that's kind of like thank you, little thank you hand.
Yeah. So that was nice. So
that's a reply. So there's another 2, 5, 6, 7. You're at 7 there, mate.
However, what then happened was I started to get a lot of replies from people who fucking love Jonathan Watson. Fair enough. Scottish TV legend Jonathan Watson. Stalwart of Scottish Hogmanay coverage, Jonathan Watson. I can't remember what we went. I think I've got this the right way around. So first of all, the tweet that I sent was retweeted by Scottish sports presenter Dougie Donnelly.
Brilliant.
which mental. All right, so there was that. But the fucking best thing about it was I got a reply from George Galloway,
Brilliant.
actual George Galloway, who said
Georgie Porgy Galloway.
he said he was quite brilliant. He saluted Jonathan Watson's indefatigability.
He's got a kind of Oscar Wilde avatar.
He does.
That's how I'm
really
reading.
Weird, yeah.
He's quite brilliant, you know. Great. I don't think they get any points.
Would you like me to be the cat?
Well, he did. What was it? It was Rula Lengska, wasn't it? That
well, yes.
The resurrection of the Daleks is very own.
Indeed. Well, we'll see what the Exessio Funmaker has to say, but that's my contribution.
Move aside. Lee is most impressed by Dougie Donnelly. That's sterling. Brilliant. So what is that? 7, 8, 7? What is that?
I think so. I got three replies, and then we can Derek can just say what he wants to do with them. The like and retweet, and then the retweet from Dougie Donnelly.
Rassilon's trousers. Surely, if you get a retweet from Dougie Donnelly, you've completed Twitter. That's
yeah.
I mean, that's nice. Getting the pass to leave of your own accord rather than sitting around inside it waiting for it to Elon Muskian
just implode
down.
Yeah.
It's in fact 7 points to his favorite mark. 7 points.
Fair enough. I'll take that.
Okay, so
no points for a Galloway. No points for a Galloway.
No points for a Galloway. But there's the cool points. There's the cool person points. All right, I'll just wheel through mine then. I don't know where I stand here. First person I reached out to, Katie Manning, sent her this tweet. It's a picture of us when we were at the Pleasance. She was there in, what did we do, 2017, 2016?
No, it was even earlier than that. It was Capaldi's first season. So it would have been like 2015?
Ooh.
No, 2014. Jesus Christ.
Very near the beginning of On the Time Lash, we did a Ed Fringe special where we just visited everyone who had a Doctor Who connection and tried to blag an interview. And obviously the most successful one, I think, was Katie Manning. She was so nice. So thinking back to the On the Time Lash Edinburgh Fringe special, when we met the kind and wonderful Manning official, which Mark turned up to smart and clean-shaven, but I, for some reason, cosplayed as Hagrid, worked as a bin man. I mean, there's a distinct... Mark looks like an employable man, and I look like why that man is holding those people hostage. That's what's happening. And she did. She replied, "Oh, love that Hagrid look. Hugs to you both." And I was like, "No, thank you, Katie. Hope you're grand." Hagrid, or as Jackson Reese pointed out, I'm getting Norwegian lumberjack who's lost his tour group and wandered into shot.
But it's fine because the tour group's standing directly behind you. If you look at the photo. There they are.
There they are, right there. In fact, there's just a bloke right there.
Just peering over my shoulder.
What the fuck is happening? So Katie Manning, got her. Next one to try. I was kind of like you with your Richard Price. I was like, okay, well, there's obviously the big stars, but who are the other folks? And it occurred to me, why not do like a Dalek operator? And maybe I tried to stay away from too much fake ego tickling. I didn't want to be ungenuine at all.
How dare you?
And so I was genuinely interested in this. I was like, okay, well, Barnaby Edwards must be on a par in terms of being a Dalek operator with some of the classic guys. And so I just asked him. That's Jackson again. I was wondering, can't find it anywhere. Absolutely could, just didn't want to. Who has the most Dalek performer credits per story? Now, I know some of the classic guys, probably per episode, are going to be greater. But in terms of stories, is it Barnaby Edwards? And he did. He replied. New series. Yes, it's me. Not sure about the old series. Probably JSM, John Scott Martin. And how did we dig into it? And to be honest, it's neck and neck. John Scott Martin he's credited for 13 stories. If you do a bit of moving around Mission to the Unknown as part of Dalek Master Plan, whereas Barnaby Edwards has 11 credited stories. So he's catching up. He's
Yeah.
I found out actually a wonderful little thing there. So that's another reply. What's the next one? The next one is okay. So this is a bit of a cheat.
No. I know. I was gonna contest
cheat.
this.
So I reached out to Bethany Black. Bethany Black was in Sleep No More. She is also a stand-up comic, and I have had the privilege of sharing bills with her, being backstage, hanging out, being up at comedy clubs, and I had it in like the back pocket to be like, this will, because it's well within the rules. Watching Sleep No More, and don't care what anyone says, it's an atmospheric belter. Correct, I do. So stand by that. And it's brilliant to see Bethany Black in it, who I loved watching Smash the weekend shows. I was always friendly and hilarious in the green room back in the Monkey Barrel days. And also, again, yes, she was. So replied back, liked it, replied back, thanks, pal. I'll let you know next time I'm up. That counts. She was in Doctor Who.
She was in Doctor Who.
There we go. So
I forgot that I also I don't have the tweet to hand, but I also attempted to get a response from Bonnie Langford because of the time that she signed my name across her chest. There we go.
Oh yeah, that was.
And she literally said to me, "You were standing behind me in the queue," and she literally said to me, "Oh, I appear to have signed your name across my chest." And I said, yes, Bonnie, it does appear that you have done that. Then we made passionate love on the table in front of Sylvester McCoy.
It was.
I might have made that last bit up.
It was remember. Awkward. The boy that was sitting next to her taking the money kept like jumping out of his wee safe box thing. He was trying to look away. He was talking to Annika Wills.
Just coins everywhere. Yeah.
Coins. So yeah, okay. Like, so there was a lot that we threw out that we did not get a response from. Like, who did I? Naoki Mori, who's Tosh in Torchwood and Doctor Who. John Cleese, George Layton.
John Cleese was a fucking big swing.
Yeah, it was. Yijit. So it was more for George Layton. George Layton is probably better known as being a light comedy 60s, 70s, 80s kind of sitcom actor. He was in the Doctor in the House, Doctor and Clover, that kind of the Doctor sitcoms. But he was also in the Space Pirates, and I was like, brilliant, let's get in. Another prolific oldie-timey tweeter is Mike Grady, who played henpecked husband Barry in Last of the Summer Wine. And I was like, please, for God, please let him have been in Doctor Who, and he wasn't. So, but he replies to anyone. So we threw a lot of stuff out. One of my ones that I enjoyed throwing out was one to Matthew Waterhouse, where I said, I think Minetta Lane, Matthew favorite. Waterhouse, should do a podcast where each episode he lists his top 5 favorite things and calls it Waterhouse 5. Nothing. That one is from the Digzestial Funmaker that you can see. not from
It was
Matthew
a fucking
Waterhouse.
good joke. It's very good.
But it did give me a good lead. Craig Ells, who played Calvinista in Doctor Who Flux, is on Twitter. So I reached out to him. Loved Doctor Who Flux, and Craig Ells as Calvinista is a brilliant addition to the show. And love the guy's name. I think he should start a podcast about vicious historical battles and call it Bloody Ells. Or a cooking show called Ells Kitchen. Look, Craig Ells 78 is a brand gift that keeps on giving. No reply, but 2 likes. 2 likes from the man himself. And here endeth the lesson. So that's
nice.
I got a reply from Katie. I actually didn't check if I got a like from her as well. But
8 points, isn't it?
4, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 7, 8.
That's fair play, man.
Although I did get from Bethany, I did get a like.
Oh, did you?
But since you're contesting it, I'm going to.
No. It's not. It's not up to me, is it? It's not up to me.
But yeah, that was our adventures.
Almost at the fucking hour mark from this. This is just fun. I'm just enjoying this. Fuck the Daleks Master Plan.
Yeah, we are really near. You must, the people on Twitter, if for some reason you do take an interest in us, you must have thought most other people are leaving Twitter. What are these 2 idiots properly stepping up the operation? for? What is happening?
Yeah,
Anyway, so that was fun. Like, I really enjoyed that. So
it was a lot of
round
fun.
of applause to the Digestial Funmaker for coming up with that. Who would send me, you're probably sending you as well, like emails and texts going, great, loving it. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it was funny trying to like
There was
work out,
one
what
he
would
sent
I
me.
say?
Yeah. Hang on. Sorry, carry on. Oh no, that was it. When I sent the Chinese takeaway one, I just got a text from Derek that just said, Colin Baker, nay chance. And he was right. He was right.
Yeah, there was a few people. So I was like, one of the ones was Silas Carson, who plays All the Ood.
He hadn't tweeted since like 2019 or something.
Yeah, you've done the same thing, have you? Yeah, like I was like, what was last tweet?
Don't believe me.
Jacob Anderson, he was only tweeting when he had something to plug. It's a bit of a waste.
I did, in a dark moment, I did consider tweeting Noel Clark, but I think I would have deserved to lose points if I got a response from him.
All right, Daleks Master Plan. Let's change the background.
Oh God, we haven't done listener correspondence. Right, so
yeah.
Did I just give you three? Did I just give you three listener correspondence?
You did. So
because we're going to just split it up over the next two episodes.
Yeah.
So
we got from Joe, Luke, and Mark. Who do you want to go for?
Okay, great. So let's go with Joe then.
Joe, perfect.
From the Brilliant Hamster with a Blunt Penknife podcast, Joey says, 12 episodes of comedy, drama, twists, turns, problematic racist stereotypes, great plunger action, monkeying around, fluffs, deaths, and time destructory. It's unforgettable, overlong, but always at least entertaining, and often the best Doctor Who has ever been.
Fair.
Yeah.
I would like to know what the unproblematic racist stereotypes. what do they look like? But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, you know, we'll reach our conclusions in 2 weeks' time, and my conclusion, spoiler, is I love the Daleks Master Plan.
Yeah, well, and then we got from I think our best loved episode of On the Time Lash in recent memory, Luke Malloy from the Lost on Gallifrey podcast, who says, as a two-parter, hopefully I've given you both excerpts. Yes. So Luke says, its epic status is cemented by its largely missing status. The high stakes of the core story and the quirky detours into Egypt, the monk, and Christmas. This is full of fantastic moments, but far too uneven to be a classic in its own right. But
the audacity.
But I watched this with Chris in one day, and we rocketed around time and space with Hartnell, Daleks, and a crate of Carlsberg. I mean, that's just a fucking great Sunday afternoon, isn't it? Never bored at any stop along the way. This isn't a story; it's a series, and probably the closest we'd ever see to the nation's Dalek space show. Fab. Yeah. Yes, I think it's absolutely the closest we'll ever get to that. Yeah. And then finally, was it Mark Cockram from... Yes, so Mark Cockram from All the Time in Space podcast says, an epic space opera, which despite its size, never fails to hold my attention. Right? Kevin Stoney is deliciously evil as Mavic Chen. The Daleks have never been more cunning and manipulating. And the final episode is an absolute gut punch. I'd love to see it come back. Yeah. A lot of love for Daleks Master Plan.
There sure is. I'm just wondering,
because I think it's the potential of it, isn't it?
So since we've hit the hour mark, I do wonder if we should take our break before we get into the meat and drink of actually talking about the Daleks Master Plan.
Yeah, why not? And then we could do. And then at the end of the episode, we could have a little bit more fun with some more Degsy's quiz game thing.
Yes,
and then that's kind of a nice variety. Fun and games at the end.
Beyond the time, right, let's do that. Yeah, well, let's do that. Okay, perfect. We will be back then in just a few little moments. We'll see you then. Fucked it again. Right, okay. We're back. There we are. Smooth.
That was the longest intro in on the Time Lash history, but it was a lot of fun, and I hope you all enjoyed that. But yeah, Daleks Master Plan episodes 1 to 6, which of course ends with Coronas of the Sun. So I'm drinking some Corona this evening.
Ooh, how fancy.
Not in the sun, because I'm in the northeast of England. We don't get lots of.
I thought I'd do the little ticker taping, get us back on track.
Nice.
Moved into a new place, so I spent last couple of days, having a bit of an explore the various bevy providers, if we give it its professional title, that are about the place. And there's a nice Super Value just up the road that's got a lot of nice beers. So I got there's a few of them. I've opted to start off with Kinnegar Brewery's American style IPA, even though it's from Donegal. It's called Crossroads. Kick off because even though we've got a Dalek episode, it's quite a crossroads for the history of Doctor Who in terms of coming and going production staff, beginning of the end for William Hartnell, the dispatch of a number of companions for the first time in this series. It's a bloodbath. But later on, I'm going to dig into Kinnegar again, the Devil's Backbone for the Devil's Planet.
Nice.
I got another one. I probably will get.
We're going to be here for hours.
I think so.
So what I found really interesting, this is probably skipping ahead a little bit, but as a kind of just coverall kind of discussion, watching Josh Snares' great sort of 40-minute documentary about the Daleks Master Plan.
This one here, the making of the Daleks Master Plan on YouTube.
There, exactly.
It's a belter. Yeah. It's an absolute belter. If we're going to introduce documentaries, I'll also, which I guess we will definitely talk about, as well as Josh Snares, the making of the Daleks Master Plan, which is a great 45 minutes, professionally made, wonderful. Another one that's an absolute belter is Terry Nation Army. Have a whole focus on the making of Daleks Master Plan and the original spy thriller that Terry Nation wanted it to be before it became this bloated mother-in-law pleasing cross Christmas epic.
Yeah, and it's in the kind of Terry Nation stuff that. So the thing that I never, because I'm going to level with you here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh shit!
This is the first time I've ever done a Daleks Master Plan in its entirety. Yeah, right? Never, because the thing is, I think there's a part of me that's always been like, man, that sounds amazing. The Daleks Master Plan sounds fucking epic. It sounds so exciting. Like when I was a kid, it sounded like so cool. It's like a big, epic sort of space adventure. But then you discover that it doesn't exist. And I think I've always been kind of put off by the fact that it doesn't exist because it's a big, epic space adventure. You kind of, I think if you've not experienced before, you kind of think, oh, well, that's not going to be the same if I listen to a narrated soundtrack or, watch a telesnap. But actually, because Nation writes the first 6 episodes as this kind of espionage thriller, it actually works pretty well, in lieu of the images. But in coming back to what I was going to say, what I found most fascinating about the Josh Snares documentary was that bit that he's got towards the end where he looks at kind of contemporary responses to it. And there's sort of letters to the papers or the Radio Times or wherever it was, where affronted parents sort of respond to either the Devil's Planet or is it it's not the traitor. No, the traitors when Katerina gets killed.
Yes,
I'm not sure exactly what episode it is that they're responding to, but they talk about this idea of how sad it is that this once great family sci-fi show has descended into this absolute bloodbath. And watching it, well, I say watching bits of it and listening to the soundtrack and all that kind of thing, it is fascinating to kind of see how different Doctor Who is after only 2 years
Yeah.
of being on the telly. Because the Daleks Master Plan is quite bleak for the first 6 episodes. It gets a bit silly after a bit, but those first 6 episodes, like episode 3 is hellish. You know, the demon planet where they go to or the devil's, I can't remember the name of the episode. But when they go to that kind of penal colony and it's full of just absolute scumbags.
Yeah.
Looking for a way off the planet. You just wouldn't. It's the sort of story that I think, you know, people say, "Oh, Doctor Who can tell any story," but it is the sort of story you kind of go, "Nah, you can do that though."
Yeah,
you couldn't send the Doctor off to a planet of violent criminals.
Yeah. Who probably weren't that violent when they were settled on the planet, but have become more resentful and violent and tribal because of the sheer death. I mean, it's called desperate, like the sheer desperation of the place.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so how did you experience it then? You did.
So I did that. What you're holding up right now. So the narrated soundtrack by Peter Purvis on the dog walks. I tell you what, right? Sod the telesnaps.
On the time lash, on the dog walks.
I am loving
Mark.
missing Doctor Who episodes that I can just listen to while taking the dog for a walk. That's magic. I got so much done. I managed to get so much prep for this podcast done. I watched all the documentaries. I watched it because literally I could just go and take the dog for a walk. I didn't have to sit down and watch still images and a bit of dialogue. So I did that.
It's not often that the Venn diagram of Doctor Who fandom and physical health meet each other. Really, is it?
No, it's not. So I did that, and I watched. Obviously, it was quite nice. So what I would do was I would go out, listened to the first 2 episodes, came back, had my breakfast, watched the 3rd episode, and then in the afternoon would do the rest of it. So yeah, that's how I did it. Watched the surviving clips, which I think only goes as far as part 4 on the DVD, which was strange.
Yeah.
And then obviously we'll cover the rest of it. But that is how I will do the rest of it as well for the next episode.
Sure. Did the same. The soundtrack, old-fashioned CD release, and then Lost in Time. Also read John Peel's Target novelization, which, doing a bit of digging, is it's like a mishmash of what was actually broadcast, but also more elements, because it's split into 2. So what we're dealing with is basically book 1, and then which is Mission to the Unknown.
Because Mission to the Unknown and the Mutation of Time.
Part 2 is the Mutation of Time. There's a lot more in the book that is taken from initial drafts by Terry Nation, meaning it's a bit more pure in terms of it being a spy thriller, but also some things that had to be toned down from the initial script to broadcast. If you thought the actual Daleks Master Plan is bleak, the novelization is a lot more bleak.
Right.
For instance, who are they? Gars and Borg, the 2 guys that are electrocuted in the swamp outside of the spa.
Yeah.
It's not stated in the episodes that after they were electrocuted but unconscious, did then die because of those screamers going down to feast on them. The things that Kirkson was scared of in the first place. That's why I didn't head through the swamp with them. Kirkson holding on to Katarina takes on much more of brutal. He's not just looking for a hostage. There's a bit where he like cuts off her hair and starts sniffing sniffing her hair and all that to really like. So there's a lot of it there that's taken from kind of like first draft elements.
So it's John Peel that writes it, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The novelization. When was it published? Was this kind of Was this kind of tail end of Target into New Adventures?
It was. It was 145. So it's I think it's number 145. So you're still within the production of the original show. I think it's like 87, 88, something like that.
Oh, right, okay. I just wondered if that's why those kind of elements are kind of kept. I mean, obviously he's working from the scripts, but I'm just wondering if that's why those elements are kept in, because the fandom at large has kind of grown up a bit and can maybe, handle those more mature elements, or are kind of just rubbing their thighs at the prospect of those.
No, I don't think that it started publishing the New Adventures at that point. I'll have to check that, but I'm not too sure. I think it's funny you talked about the clips. I think it's funny that the reason that we have Katarina's death survive, which is at the start of episode 4, and is like you start that week's episode and it's already up to 90.
It's brutal. Yeah.
I can't believe that the only reason that survives is because they clipped that out so they could show it on Blue Peter. Of all the things to show, of all the representative clips, the one that they're going to go, hey, were you for the first time one of Doctor Who's companions is actually brutally killed and there's no way back. Let's relive that classic moment on Blue Peter just after you're in from school.
So the thing that I don't quite understand, and this is having, watched everything, and Josh Snares and Terra Nation Army, who are both brilliant and very in depth. I'm unsure as to why they bothered to introduce Katarina in the first place, because obviously they film her death scene before they film the Mythmakers.
Yeah,
because it's all pre-filmed on a set, on a proper, studio set at Ealing, is it?
Yeah.
They film it. So it does say, because my understanding of Katarina was always that and I guess it's maybe a transition of production team or whatever, but I always just understood it was that because she's from ancient Greece, there's only so far you can take that. And there's that amazing bit in, is it part 1 or 2, where Brett Vian realizes that Stephen's suffering from blood poisoning. He goes, "Oh, just give him these 2 tablets," and she has no idea what he's talking about. It's just these 2 bloody tablets. The fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah. I've often wondered about it as well, because so they get rid of. I don't know exactly what that was, but they end Maureen O'Brien's contract and decide to keep Katarina Adrienne Hill on as a companion. But very and I thought, oh well, is it something to do with her as an actress? I don't think it's even that far. It's that they when they actually sat down to try and construct scripts and ideas, very soon we're like probably like in the process of just a handful of weeks when that character that we had an idea about that we really quickly probably had to get together as we took over the production of this Dalek insanity that we were kind of left by the previous production team. I've attempted to write some scripts and it's just, you've got to explain everything. Like there's a funny bit in the Missing Episodes podcast where they have Gavin Rymil on from the Terry Nation Army to talk about the Dalek Master Plan, and he said, like, you can there's a point where she doesn't even know what a key is, and that's when and it's not like Jamie, who is a character from history, but not too far in the past, and certainly has a healthy disrespect for both church and state, so that he's got an inquiring enough, if yokel kind of mind. Katarina is so far from the past that she's into mythology, but she's also like her whole makeup and being, her mental capacity is about religion. So there's another block to there being any kind of possible learning or experience for that character. And I think very quickly
Yeah.
they just went, fuck. I mean, I find myself writing, and every scene that she's in, she's like, we're just asking questions about what's going on. So,
Well, that's it. It's mental, like just the amount of things that are surprising to her. Because you're right, the whole Jamie, I think, very quickly kind of just gets it, and they kind of use his sort of his historical background as kind of more down into comedy. So it's kind of that kind of fish out of water stuff.
yeah.
Whereas, yeah, with Katerina, it's like, how far can you really go with a companion that thinks the Doctor's literally a god?
Yeah. Now, the thing with Jamie is that at
But
least
he's
the
not a
production...
dog.
Yeah. He's
I mean,
not.
God.
The thing with Jamie, though, is that the production team at least have a faith in the character.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they maybe have in play second fiddle to Ben and Polly, but when it comes to it, it's Fraser Hines' contract they renew, and they get rid of Annika Wilson, Michael Craze. So,
And
but
you look at the faceless ones as well,
yeah,
and it's very much, it's not a kind of guy who says, "Oh, Jesus Christ, all these flying beasties."
yeah,
It's a guy who quite quickly gets over that, and then kind of just
yeah.
runs with the storyline and is great. You know,
Yeah. Whereas you just don't get that John Wiles and Donald Tosh have faith in their own creation, and that's why they bottle it. And so the first thing that Adrian Hill films at Ealing is the death scene in the pre-filming, because that's done on film for that. So
that's
the
adventure
before she's
space
even
and
in the
time
Myth
drama
Makers.
I want to see is the story of an actress who, oh, you're going to be the next companion in Doctor Who. Oh, great. Oh, wow. What a brilliant role that's going to be. Fantastic. It's going to be my big break. And then, like, 2 days later, it's like, right, so the first thing I'm going to do is film your death scene.
Yeah. I wonder if she was even...
I'm sorry, what? My death scene?
I wonder if she was actually ever told that she was going to be a companion, or is that something that's been retrospectively applied?
Yeah, I don't know, because
did she ever think of herself?
Both of those, watching both those videos, I never got the sense that was the intention, but everything I've, read and known about Doctor Who fandom before watching those YouTube documentaries made me think that was always the intention, but now I'm really doubtful if that ever was,
Yeah, but she gets a truly ridiculous death. I mean, like, it's brutal. Like, it's absolutely...
Yeah, she pushes the wrong button because she doesn't understand.
Well, no, so it's fairly clear in the novelization that she knows exactly what it is.
Right. Okay.
Kirkson's telling her, keep away from that.
Well, yeah, because the Doctor does go, oh, well, she was actually trying to save us.
Yeah.
But
I guess you could read it in a couple of ways. Is it him justifying to himself what happened, that there was some sort of, humanitarian intelligence behind it? Or did she actually know? I don't know. I mean, I guess we wouldn't really know until we actually saw the I was going to say saw the footage, but there's no more to see, really, is there? I mean, I don't know.
No, there's not, because you do have it, but not much of it. I mean, what I find interesting is that, as you said at the top of this bit, it's the beginning of the end for William Hartnell.
Yeah.
As the Doctor, and there's something interesting in, and I think it is completely by accident. I don't think it's by design, but there's something interesting in the Daleks Master Plan in that two of his potential companions, I guess, because Sarah Kingdom. Because if we look at the concept of the Doctor Who companion, it's somebody who sort of lasts one story, joins the TARDIS team, and goes off on other adventures. So Katerina and Sarah Kingdom don't quite maybe necessarily fit that mold, but he loses two potential companions quite horrifically in this. And then you have the massacre, which is what, the serial after this?
Yes.
And it's it's definitely like looking back on it, feels like this guy, this old guy, who has now become the hero of the show, kind of can't keep his friends safe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's an odd thing, and I've never thought about it before until doing the Daleks Master Plan. But and like I say, I think it is unintentional, but there's an interesting arc there that I'm sure has been done to death in Big Finish and sort of Missing Adventures novels and things like that. But it does feel that like the First Doctor's in kind of a reduced state and is kind of unable to kind of keep his companions from danger.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious explanation is it's a new production team, and they want to do something new, and they don't quite have the same. I don't want to say moral compass, but they don't quite have the same cozy tea time sensibility as Verity Lambert. The kind of there's a family in the TARDIS, and it's tea time entertainment for the family, and because like we're talking about Katerina's death, Brett Vion gets brutally gunned down at the end of that episode. Like episode 4 is just violence from start to finish.
The cliffhanger to episode 4 is Jean Marsh turning to camera and going, shoot them on sight, aim for the head.
Yeah, it's just violence. And then when Brett dies, Stephen and the Doctor don't actually know he's dead until like the middle of the next episode. So it's just like this character that had such charisma and was your James Bond on screen is just suddenly he's gone. I feel like we should probably start. There's a lot of information that informs the enjoyment.
We've not started.
We've not started, no. So this is Dalek Master Plan, and we're doing 1 to 6, firstly because it's more manageable to do 12 episodes and split them in half. That's why we paired it with Flux. It's a huge, sprawling story. We joked at the beginning of the episode about why was it 12 episodes, because for some reason somebody listened to their mother-in-law. But it was always intended that, because we're in the middle of Dalek Mania, and after the success of the Daleks leading into Christmas 1963, Dalek Invasion of Earth leading into Christmas 1964, they wanted the same thing. They wanted a Dalek serial to be big bucks for Christmas 1965, and they increased the size of it. This is, though, the first real Mission to the Unknown, Galaxy 4. They were made as part of Verity Lambert's leaving production block. So what John Wiles and Donald Tosh, the new producer and script editor, start back with is the Myth Makers, and they inherit this huge Dalek serial. Terry Nation only had 6 episodes, and after trying comedy with The Chase, decided he didn't actually like them being treated as a joke, even though he himself was the person who did it, probably because at this point he's already formulating the idea of the spin-off action adventure show with the Daleks, and also the popularity at this point of Sean Connery as James Bond. He hands in the script for James Bond in Space with the Daleks. That's who Brett Vion is. That's who Mavic Chen is. Mavic Chen is very definitely Dr. No.
Oh God, yeah. Absolutely.
The Daleks and the galactic representatives, they're Smersh or Spectre or whatever version of it. Not James Bond, but more kind of espionage. Like Sarah Kingdom is Kathy Gale, is Emma Peel. It's that ITV big budget TV show is what he's attempting to do now, writing as he is for the Baron at the moment, which he's also taking Dennis Spooner to. And when they increase it to 12 episodes, Spooner is the person that does the second part of the serial, which is just so these initial 6 episodes are like the original serial, and everything else is kind of like that tacked on prolonging element of Terranium core comedy that we will get. So if we want to see like the pardon the pun, the core, the quintessential Daleks Master Plan. The original. It's these episodes here. This is what it was intended to be.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
fact,
'cause that
somebody
was
said
it was always going to build to basically where it ends with part 6, wasn't it? But it was going to be a bit more of a kind of confrontation on Kemble
yeah.
that would eventually kind of wrap up the story. And
So somebody said that you can watch 1 to 5 and then slot in episode 12 as your episode 6, and
Oh,
you've
really?
basically
Okay.
got your original 6 episodes. Because like looking at these 6 episodes, what does it really change? It's tonally, it's very different after Christmas, but there's nothing that feels like it was reverse engineered to set up the Spooner editions.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think because all the way through the like I say, this is the first time I've kind of properly done Dance Master Plan, and all the way through those first 6 episodes, I did feel like, how can we keep this going for 6 more episodes? Like,
Yeah.
surely they're going to just, stop the time destructor, go back to Kemble. And obviously that was always the plan, but Hugh Weldon's mother-in-law wanted more Daleks, so we get, The Chase Part 2.
Yeah. Which is bizarre because she'd already had 6 episodes of Daleks over the summer in The Chase, and a Dalek movie in the cinema.
What more does she want? What
I
more
don't
does
know.
she want?
I do wonder, like the reason I said at the start
Never
is
have.
that can't be the real reason that we get 12
It can't
episodes.
be.
And I was thinking, is there maybe a thing where I've found no evidence to back this up, but the fact that Doctor Who is now big budget and in the cinema, is there maybe a reaction from the production team going, look, I mean, that's just over there. Like, we're going to tell a story that you couldn't do in the cinema. We're gonna do, like, you want to see the next big Dalek thing. It's on television, back in the home of the Daleks. This is where to look for it. I wonder if there's some element of production bravado. Probably not.
No, probably not. But I think that's a compelling argument because I think, I think there is a version of this, a sort of 100-minute Peter Cushing movie of this, which would be a belter.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it's that thing because, you look at television now, which is the thing that it has over cinema is that, and the reason why big movie actors go to television is that they get this is a very highfalutin way to talk about Daleks Master Plan, but you started it. But you know what I mean? Like, it's movie actors are attracted to television because they get a chance to explore a character over a much longer time than they would in a film.
Yeah.
And so, yes, the Daleks Master Plan as this kind of very long serial that you couldn't possibly do in the cinema. It's a compelling idea.
Yeah, there's a certain element that just feels like it's an attempt to reclaim the epic quality.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got Daleks with flamethrowers.
Yeah, they burned down the jungle.
Yeah, like there's Daleks with different attachments.
Shall we talk about the Daleks?
Yeah,
because they are great in this.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
like I love Davros as much as the next person, but I do think that when Nation introduces Davros, you kind of lose something with the Daleks.
Yeah. They lose,
and what you lose is what you see here, which is that kind of cunningness and that kind of strategic mind, and that sass as well.
Yeah,
you make you make your incompetence
seem like an achievement.
Yeah, that's magic. That's magic.
Absolute magic. The 60s Daleks feel like a culture. The Dalek statue that's in the Dalek city that they throw down the lift shaft in the original Dalek serial whilst they're trying to escape, I think, in episode 4.
Yeah.
The fact that the Dalek camp commandant in the Dalek invasion of Earth has a pet that he lets roam the camp. He has a pet. Here, they bring local vegetation from Skaro as a method of protection around the base. Like like they feel like a I don't want to say living, breathing, like a living, bubbling cultural something. And so you can see why they're building relations with other galactic forces.
They're an invasion force at the end of the day. That's what they are. It's nations' kind of vision of the horrors of World War II, the horrors of the nuclear age. The Daleks aren't what they become, which is this kind of sort of megalomaniacal robot servants. In the Hartnell era, particularly, they're just an invading army. Because I was watching and listening to the Daleks Master Plan, there was an element of I was like, is this some kind of comment on this sort of League of Nations appeasement thing? And it's kind of not, because obviously they're all kind of in it for their own ends, and that's why they're trying to deal with the Daleks. But at the same time, there is this kind of idea of this hellish, sort of fascistic species, the Daleks, kind of being given carte blanche by this, this league of sort of galactic politicians who are like, oh, well, yeah, as long as you don't cause any trouble for us, it's fine.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't think Nation's that political a writer. I think he's influenced by that. I think he has these kind of subconscious influences in his scripts, but it was just something that did really kind of strike me. But it's certainly those kind of scenes of the sort of galactic. What are they called? The kind of, it's not the Galactic Union, but the
Galactic Council. Yeah.
All those.
I don't know if he is taken from James Bond. I think he is taken at that it's Spectre, and that all essentially this is a galactic crime syndicate that he's got. You've got Jimmy the Legs and Gary the Teeth and all that kind of, like, I mean, one of the strengths you were saying earlier on about the style and the tone of this thing. The Daleks are in it, the Doctor's in it, but it's the most sci-fi, scary looking aliens. Like, all of the aliens look disgusting. Like, it's plasticine
fucking dripping,
it's plasticine hanging off a guy. It's a guy with chiseled teeth. It's like a giant stack of hats with eyes in it. It's an astronaut. I'm just looking at our background screen. All these, and then what becomes apparent when we have the second episode, Day of Armageddon, returned to us, is also how alien each of their behaviors is. One of them walks down the ramp into the conference room looking like a jelly, and sort of like they're clapping, like even down to Mavic Chen writing bizarrely with his pen. It's all of it is designed to be.
My favorite Mavic Chen thing was that I will be ruler of the galaxy, and he kind of raises his pinky, to the sky, and you're like, Mike Myers definitely watched this, right? As a kid in Canada. I know it only went as far as Australia apparently, but I don't know. There's proper Dr. Evil vibes from Mavic Chen.
Oh yeah, there's an agenda here. I think is that Terry. I don't know how politically charged he is, but Terry Nation's agenda is build a world that I can then wholesale take and then sell to as another thing. I've already built these characters. That's why when it comes to write the pilot for the Destroyers, he's already got Sarah Kingdom. He's already got a robot. He's already got a crime syndicate in space to fight. I got that the other day, splashed out on the Big Finish version of the Destroyer
Oh, right,
script
okay,
to
yeah.
listen to for the next episode. So we'll report back on what that sounded like.
Yeah, I'll maybe need to try and listen to that stuff. But what? Because I would argue, and maybe this would be the time to bring Dylan Reeson in as a special guest, but we're not going to do that. Sorry, we didn't plan this. But I do think that Nick Briggs has been trying to kind of remake and kind of reach for the Daleks Master Plan for decades now. You look at his Dalek Empire audios, you look at that kind of weird Tom Baker season he did, which was basically a direct sequel to the Daleks Master Plan. When you actually look back to Planet of the Daleks and Frontier in Space, you go, no, they've already done a 70s sequel to the Daleks Master Plan. So it does cast a long shadow. This there's huge influences. The Daleks Master Plan.
Oh yeah, I mean, even with Terry Nation's own scripts, it had not clicked when we did Planet of the Daleks that he's taking an idea, invisible inhabitants of a jungly planet, that it's already here. It was here on Myra with the Vizians before Planet of the Daleks Spyrodon. I never clicked that.
I know but that's it, and I think also, as much as it's influential, I think it does also inspire the kind of the brickbats against Terry Nation as well. There's that great bit in the Josh Schneer's video where he kills off Kasarina and he gives the Doctor a speech, but he doesn't give the Doctor a speech. He gives a direction to the script editor, Donald Tosh, to go, just stick in whatever you think would fit with what your overall plans are.
In the script, Terry Nation,
and they're all underrunning by about like 10 minutes or something as well.
Well, not true. Apparently, not true. There's a lot of after this, the idea that Terry Nation had his attention divided between this Doctor Who task he was doing and starting work proper on running the TV show The Baron. Donald Tosh has kind of in interviews has kind of rewritten Nation's involvement, saying that he was like handing in essentially what were just scenarios or things that were like running at 15-minute length. And in actual fact, that's not, like, looking at the paperwork, it's not the case. Nation apparently took care and attention and effort. I should have, I put up little screenshots for the Dalek Master Plan, Josh Schneer's documentary, and the Terry Nation Army documentary. Have a listen to the Doctor Who Missing Episodes podcast on the Dalek Master Plan. There's some great insight into that. And, Gavin Rymel is as unchallengeable a Dalek knowledge as ever there was. And he said, look, at most, there's only maybe like a couple of minutes. But, written into the scripts are directorial invites for directorial flourish. He's like, there's in episode 2, he's written nothing specifically so that shots can be done to show how alien all the delegates of the conference are.
Right. Sure.
And that's why when you watch Day of Armageddon, there are lingering shots around all these. But what would you have? What would you rather have? Like dialogue or just the sheer horror of looking at these BBC prop and costume creations?
Yeah.
I tell you what.
There's also great stuff in that episode of just Hartland in that cloak, kind of scuttling down the ramp and trying to pass himself off as one of the delegates. There's loads of great sort of physical moments, and it's why I think you want it back, because you want to see what else you've missed in the fact you're only listening to the narrated dialogue by Peter Purves.
Yeah. This is an interesting segue. Doctor Who fans, we're all about our lists and our firsts and our, this is my first missing episode return as a fan.
Oh, right.
I was starting to get into Doctor Who.
Sorry, I think I know where this is going, but I'm gonna...
Oh, well, I don't. So this is interesting. But I mean, I was kind of starting out in fandom. I was vaguely aware of the Return of the Lion, the episode of the Crusade.
Yes. It was on the
But
bloody National Lottery.
Yeah.
The Return of the Lion. Bananas.
But the first missing episode of Doctor Who, when I was like in fandom, going to the Edinburgh Doctor Who group nights as it was then at the Cannon's Gate on the Royal Mile. I remember the excitement of this coming back, because it was it proved why these episodes needed to be returned. You can learn everything you want about the production of the episode, and you can understand the story from a scripting and an audio point of view. There's just some stuff you're never going to get out of that episode unless you can see it. I think we understand that from the Return of Enemy of the World, and certainly from the Web of Fear. But when Day of Armageddon came back, like, I remember it just being like, I loved it. I loved Day of Armageddon. I bought a burned CD copy of well, I'm not going to say his name, because the showing of this episode proved to be controversial at the Edinburgh group,
at a particular Edinburgh group event.
But this is the first time I remember being like, oh fuck, there's the watchable Doctor Who, there's the return of Doctor, because it was like 2003 2004 it came back, but then there's also this other level of Doctor Who where the folklore, the archaeology, the mystery that goes along with the missing episodes. You can see why people are so, passionate about it. As silly as sometimes we think some people who go looking for these episodes are and how they act on Twitter, you understand the motivating mystery that prompts them to do so.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think that I've always said at the end, like, returning Doctor Who episodes to the archive, it's cultural history at the end of the day, and I think there's a real thing at the moment, that the arts don't matter, they're low value, degrees or pursuits or whatever, but actually, hey, like, film and television are mirrors to kind of, the society in which it's kind of constructed. So returning those Doctor Who episodes, it's not just about going, hey, great, we've got the Daleks Master Plan back. It's about putting in those sort of other little puzzle pieces of kind of how television production worked in the 1960s, how the BBC looked in the 1960s. But that's not to say that the people that return those episodes aren't completely insane.
Yeah. But then you get it back and you get to see stuff like Day of Armageddon.
Yeah.
Like,
but don't put it on Outpost Gallifrey when you do.
Yeah, I don't know if it's live, so we probably shouldn't go into the story, but we shall leave it tentatively dangling. That if
you're coming to Regenerations in Swansea, we'll tell you the story.
We'll get pissed to the bar and we'll tell you exactly what happened. I gather stuff sort of legal,
because he'll be there as well.
But I love it. Like, I love seeing it. I love because, like, up until the Day of Armageddon returned, I think the two episodes that we have, which is Counterplot and Escape Switch, are not really representative of the Dalek Master Plan. This is Day of Armageddon. You get to see all the delegates, you get to see the Daleks, you get to see the jungle, Trantis in a cape but with these disgusting little seaweed hands and legs. It's all of it is
Nick Courtney as well is phenomenal.
He is.
Like, I absolutely adore the "would you shut up, sir?" bit, and then the Doctor's kind of response of, wow, there's, however many Daleks on this planet, and we need to do this, we need to do that, so will you shut up, sir? Amazing. And it's why I think, because I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong here, but I'm sure at some point Doctor Who I've disappeared, but I'll keep talking. But I'm pretty sure Doctor Who spin-off media has now squared the circle to make sure that Brett Vine and Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart are some distant relatives or whatever. But you can see
Oh, I
that.
said that. I said that once on Twitter.
Yeah.
It was like I
Has that
like.
happened?
No, I don't think anyone said it, but I think I said on Twitter once. I like to think that there is there's a vein of duty and righteousness and doing the right thing that runs through the very DNA of the Lethbridge Stewart family, and that Brett Vion is some distant relative of the brig, and essentially what you have is special space security is just some sort of development of unit 3,000 years after.
God love Nick Courtney. He's no Sean Connery. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not playing Brett Vian as James Bond. He is playing Brett Vian as a slightly sort of blustery British intelligent. There's no cool with Brett Vian. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's more that kind of MI6 spy in the, club arguing with, other MI6 agents and not actually being kind of boots on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't feel like James Bond to me. He feels more like M, which is obviously why he then becomes Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's when they land the spar back on Earth. Going, we'll stop by and see my old friend Daxeter. I went to college with him or something like that. It's like he's not going to, he's not going to see like the proper authorities.
Kills Daxeter.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. There's just to make absolutely clear, the Terry Nation Army Daleks 63 to 88 documentary is a belter to have a watch on.
Yeah, it's really
watch
good.
Free good. On YouTube, and it tells you exactly how the 6-part spy thriller became this bloated 12 episode, and it shows you the original concept of that the suave security agents that the Terry Nation was going for. And I think you get it, and I think it's quite telling that when we've, we're no stranger to conventions and seeing, specially commissioned pieces of art, or on Twitter, people having a mock-up of what a Dalek Master Plan front cover of a DVD or VHS would look like. And it's always elements from these first 6 episodes. Maybe they throw in the monks here and there. True. It's never pyramids or cricket grounds or 1960s police stations. It's all that stuff that happens in the year 4000. This is the Daleks Master Plan, these first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Because they're the most exciting. They're the most dangerous. You genuinely feel a danger. And it's so, in a way, it's right that it's that kind of crusty, harder persona of the first Doctor that is the Doctor for these adventures. He feels like the guy that could be fallible. He also feels like the guy who could be hard enough to sustain the emotional damage that goes along with all of these people dying.
But then also there's we should probably start wrapping things up, I guess, but there's also the element of...
every time you mention Spar from Lee in the Polis Box, I'm just picturing Brett Vion picking up 6 morning rolls and a lottery ticket. Yeah, his ship is called the Spar because it's supposed to be a diminutive of space car. That's what it's supposed to. It's not that it's the name of the ship. It's
not a corner shop, but we all know it's a corner shop. But what I was going to say was, just as we're kind of bringing it in a bit, because I guess we'll do favorite scenes, favorite performances in the next episode, because we're not quite.
No, I think we should do performances for these first 6. Yeah,
but I think there's something really interesting, because obviously Peter Purvis is the first futuristic Doctor Who companion.
Yeah.
And throughout the Daleks Master Plan, there's moments where you kind of like, did Terry Nation forget that he introduced this kind of space pilot? Because a lot of the time it feels like he's kind of just everyday guy, but it's not. It's the
Yeah.
fact that it's so far in the future
Yeah.
that for all of Stephen's knowledge of kind of technology at the time, it just doesn't help him at that point, and that's why you get that really silly bit in the last episode where he
he tries to
sort
power
of
up
builds
the
a
fake
force
uranium
field
core.
around himself, and
Yeah, he electrocutes himself trying to. Yeah, it's funny.
he
that,
electrocutes himself so badly that he has like a force field around him for quite a considerable amount of time. It's very cartoonish.
I would love to see what that looked like. What did that look like in the episode? Yeah, it's funny how they demote Peter Purvis, they devote Stephen down to being the contemporary audience character. Like they give him like a 60s kind of jacket and tie. And they set it where he from the future is now the guy in the past. Where the other characters are laughing at him for his lack of advancement and knowledge.
Yeah, because I guess what else are you going to do? It's either him or the person from ancient Greece, and I suppose he is the one that's most like the people watching at home.
Yeah, he has at least some sort of agency with science and his own actions, whereas Katerina is just like, oh well, because she already thinks
I don't even know what
dead.
a tablet is.
Yeah, but she already thinks they're dead. So she's just like, I'm just everything. I just have to respond to passively because this is what happens on the road to being dead. Well, shall we do it then? I mean, where are we? We're very close to approaching the 2-hour mark. So
yes, so we'll do
scenes and
performances, and then we'll close off with another round of Degsy's quiz game thing.
Let's do it.
So favorite performances, I think for this stage in the game, I think it's Nick Courtney. I really, really like Brett Vian. I think I love those scenes in the first episode where he kind of finds the Doctor in the jungle and they're kind of facing off against each other, because I think it's the first inkling that this isn't the kind of Doctor Who story that you've seen sort of between 1963 and 1965. There's a danger here. There's people that aren't necessarily to be trusted, and a lot of that comes down to Nick Courtney's performance.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about, pretty much because I lost the episode, Mission to the Unknown, which it's when we meet Brett Vian and Kirk Gantry. It's an intentional allusion back to Mission to the Unknown, which, as we talked about, you and I, Mark, it's unfortunate the listeners didn't get to hear it, but, everything about that episode was designed to be pretty vicious and pretty brutal. It's an episode where the Daleks did not get defeated. They were not defeated. The Doctor is this unique character who can defeat the Daleks. Out with him, they are an unstoppable and violent force and not to be taken lightly. And this is what this is conjuring up. This is why this legwork of a kind of trailer episode was created, so that when you meet Gantry and Vian, it's in sheer desperation. And everything after that, you can absolutely understand why he forces his way onto the TARDIS and tells the Doctor to shut up. In a way, a character has never done in Doctor Who beforehand.
And he nicks the TARDIS key and just waltzes in. Again, just something that is never going to happen before or since, really.
Yeah.
There's usually it's the Doctor with a gun to his back wandering somebody in, but rarely is it somebody just pilfers the key and wanders in.
Yeah, it's the magic of Doctor Who just slapped aside. By somebody who's not willing to invest in that magic, and that's where the character violently. He does get his comeuppance by being trapped in a magnetic chair, which just forget it, forget that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that, but yes.
Kevin Stoney as Mavic Chen is amazing.
Yeah, he's very good.
Both in performance and if you're just listening to the episodes, great audio, great vocals.
Yeah, he is very good. And we've got loads more of him to enjoy,
Yeah.
as the story goes on. But yeah, he's
I mean, pretty much everybody. I mean, like, I think William Hartnell is great in this. You can see him. You can see him definitely. There's a few struggles, and I do wonder if it's because of late rewrites. But as a force of nature, as a doctor, like, he's not AWOL.
no, not at all.
And
Which is great for such a long serial. I mean, we'll get to episode 11 where he does kind of disappear for no discernible reason, but yeah, he's front and center throughout.
yeah, and scenes wise, like, there's loads to choose from. Like, episode 4, there's just loads of great stuff in it. Everyone's acting, everyone's giving it, like, it's not a kids program. It's never a kids program, but like, there's no way it's a kids program in episode 4, The Traitors. And the Daleks, Chen baiting the Black Dalek, constantly interrupting him in, I think, the Coronas of the Sun. It's weird having to tackle a single scene.
Yeah,
because it's an ongoing serial.
It is, but I think
so much of
it's quite
class.
nice to do that sometimes with Doctor Who stories, kind of focus on the kind of singular moments. Because
so much of it is class.
Yeah, because there's some great bits. Like I say, I love the scenes between Vion and the Doctor. I love the Doctor kind of inveigling his way into the meeting of the Galactic Council and then pilfering the core.
Yeah.
That's lovely. That's just really great mischievous Doctor stuff. You know? And then the Daleks just been absolutely raging. I've forgotten his name now. The guy, the ambassador that the Doctor's pretended to be.
Trantis.
Trantis, that's it. Yes. All that stuff's brilliant as well. Yeah, it's
all the stuff on film is great. Like Douglas Camfield is. I was convinced that, like, two different writers, there was two different directors on this. It's not. It's just Douglas Camfield.
It's him the whole way through, isn't it?
With Barry Newbury and who's the other? Who's the other designer? Designed to the Dalek. Raymond Cusick, yeah. The two of them. It's basically the three of those.
Yeah.
Working.
Which I guess is kind of what you want, really. If you're going to do a big, bold sort of space opera with Daleks in it, you want Terra Nation, Raymond Cusick, Dougie Camfield. It's great.
Yeah, it's this predates Star Trek. This predates Star Wars. It's I'm just just that image. Obviously, if you're listening on as a podcast, you can't see, but watching back, the background that we've chosen is the galactic meeting room with all the various aliens, and just like looking at it, there's just something about it so Moorish and intriguing and mysterious and effervescent and evocative, and
it's something that Doctor Who kind of never quite does again.
It never does anything so alien. Maybe the Monster of Peladon. Remember the wee gold? Remember the wee gold boy? The wee gold boy in the Monster of Peladon.
But also, not even that. Just something so epic and kind of sweeping and kind of world building. Like RTD and Robert Holmes and all that are great at world building, but it's all just background information. You never get this kind of long, protracted portrayal of the solar system, of the galaxy, of the kind of wider political space.
Yeah.
Frontier in space, I suppose, is the next obvious reference point, but that's kind of a sequel to this.
Yeah. It's amazing that they never tackle it again because because it's such an unmanageable thing to do, which they only realize after they have successfully achieved this unmanageable thing to do.
Yeah.
That's Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely that's the most Doctor Who thing. It's like not enough money, not enough time, but let's give it a go anyway. And then if it doesn't work, then we'll just never do it again.
Yeah, we'll just leave. It's a very definitely a classic. I love. I mean, well, we'll see. I don't know.
Well, we've got 6 episodes left to go.
Got a lot more stuff to go
in 2 weeks.
We'll see.
So before we go though,
Yeah.
Let's end on some fun.
Let's have a.
Although, oh no, here it is. We have.
Okay, well, let me do the jingle again. Here we go.
Do the jingle.
He's cheeky, he's dicky, he's leaky and squeaky. He once got a letter from Colin Baker. He's the dyslexia fun maker.
So, what? Because also, this is going to end on a little cliffhanger for the next episode as well. I don't think Ben knows this.
I don't, sir.
So, that's good. Now, I just realised that I do not have. Oh no, I've got pen and paper. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, we've got a quiz, we've got a game, we've got a thing.
Sure.
And so we'll do the quiz first of all. So it's Adventures in History. And because I went first, because I went first in the first round, you asked me the question first.
Okay, perfect. All right. Quiz topic: Adventures in History. Mark, who was Haran Id-Din? Who was Haran Id-Din?
Haran, some fucker from the Crusades.
Okay, got the right story. Technically, a wealthy merchant from Lydda during the Crusades, but some fucker from the Crusades. Sure, why not? Yes.
Well, we'll see. Ben Verth, who was Josiah Blake?
Josiah Blake was okay. I know that Josiah Blake was he the owner of the house in the Visitation?
Unfortunately, not. No, he was the revenue officer in 17th century Cornwall in the Smugglers.
Yes, he was.
Which may or may not be returned to the archives later this year, depending on who you listen to.
Sorry, it's me. Mark, who was Captain Trask? Who was Captain Trask?
Adventures in History. So it'll be somebody from Captain Trask. The name really rings a bell. Captain Trask. The captain of the slave ship in the Highlanders. I know it's not.
Bingo,
that,
bingo.
Was that what it is? That who it is?
Yeah. Technically, he was the former first mate of the Annabelle who betrayed his captain, the original captain, Will Mackay, to the English in the Highlanders. So, yeah, that works. He is, in fact, the captain of the slave ship in the Highlanders.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so your next question. If my phone's going to unlock. It is who was Ditar Latoni? Who was Ditar Latoni?
Ditar Latoni. Ditar. It's all classic series historicals.
It looks like it, yes.
Yeah, okay. Ditar Latoni. What would that be? I haven't a clue. What would Ditar would be? Is it somebody? It's like a servant in Marco Polo.
No, it's the leader of the friendly Amazonian tribe who rescued George Cranley in Black Orchid.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
When was the last time you watched Black Orchids, Ben Burr?
Oh, years and years and years ago. We haven't done it for this podcast, have we?
We've not done it for this podcast now. I don't even know where it would fit.
No.
Power of the Doctor. We'll do Power of the Doctor.
Black, oh, sure. Okay. Mark, who was James Sterling?
James Sterling. God, the name rings a bell, but then is that just because? No, I don't know.
Do you know? He's the master spy who led an escape chain during the French Revolution in the Reign of Terror. It's the boy that they're all looking for.
It is. It is. They seek him there. They seek him here. They seek him everywhere. It's only bloody James Sterling. All right, Ben. So your final question.
Yeah.
Who was Tavius?
Tavius.
Tavius.
Tavius. That sounds like somebody from the Romans. And Tavius would be... Is he the one of the is he one of the slaves that Ian strikes up an acquaintance with on the slave boat in the Romans?
Not quite. He's the slave supervisor in the court of Nero. So
right, okay. Nah,
the Exessio
I got the
might have
story,
to
but that's not the
decide
character.
whose favorite wins that particular section. And then finally, well, not finally, secondly, the game.
Yes.
Now, the game is inspired by Mr. Mavic Chen, who, of course, where's my camera? Writes like this. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Now, basically, what you and I have to do now is we have to draw a Dalek using the Mavic Chen pen technique.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like Taskmaster. It's great. So a 90-second timer. So I can do the timer if you want. Unless you've already set up a 90-second video or something to go along with it.
I've got to do what? Sorry, I was distracted by a Polis Box comment.
Oh, nice.
James Sterling had nothing to do with Dewey Donnelly, but I did like his four sidekicks. Glenn's, Hutchison, Robertson, and Stepek. Fucking hell, that is niche, mate. It took me ages to work out what you were talking about, but like suddenly a little blast from the Scottish past. Do you remember?
Right, well,
yeah. Got you.
I still don't get it. I'm sorry.
Glenn's, Hutchison, Robertson, and Stepek was like an electrical supplier that used to have like the early 80s and early 90s on like Grampian television and and STV. I think we got a telly, like one of our first tellies when I was a child on Glenn's, Hutchison's, Robertson, and Stepek. They would advertise as well on like Radio 4th. They're like, yes, it's fucking niche, mate. It's fucking niche. But then that's why we're all Doctor Who podcasters, isn't it? So
exactly, and it's only Doctor Who podcasters that are in the stream.
Right,
okay,
so what do we need? We need a
so
video.
we need 90 seconds. Derek says with music, so I don't know if you want to play the hold music.
Yeah, the do with music. Okay,
but then also we've got to close our eyes.
Yeah,
while facing the camera. But then also use our non-writing hand while playing ping pong. This is very complicated.
All right, let's forget the music. That's going to be too much for me to ineffectually jab around at some buttons. So
set a 90-second timer. Do you want me to set a 90-second timer?
No, I can do the timer. That's fine. I just can't do the DJing fine. To go with it. So bear with me.
Right. Okay. So this is my ping pong hand, I suppose.
Okay. Oh, bear with me.
Sorry, this will all get edited out. It'll sound like a hilarious comedy podcast in the finished edit.
Okay, just saying you're ready then. So what are we doing? We're drawing a Dalek.
So we've got to draw a Dalek with our eyes closed whilst drawing with the Mavic Chen pen technique. But we've also got to play ping pong blindfolded, I suppose.
Yeah.
With actors who've played the Doctor but not on TV.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Say
I'm
when
ready
you
when
want to
you
go.
are.
Okay.
All right.
Who's going to go first? Who's going to
Oh yeah,
first?
that's a good point. I'll go. I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Start the timer.
Okay.
Richard E. Grant.
David Banks.
Arabella Weir.
Ooh. Jeffrey Belden.
Oh. David Warner.
David Warner. David Collins.
Oh, nice. Oh God, not on TV. Oh God. Shit. I forgot his fucking name now. I was dancing. Michael Jaston kind of played the Doctor in the Unbound audios.
I guess, yeah, he's like a dark version of the Doctor. Trevor Martin.
That's who I was thinking of. I mean, arguably David Burton.
Sure. Does it count? Remember that bloke that did the stage productions of Power of the Daleks, and then it was a YouTube video? It was a guy called Nick Scoville.
Yeah, that surely counts. That surely counts.
That definitely counts.
Tony. Oh God.
There we go.
Oh,
there we go.
okay,
That's
fine.
that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting drawing that I've drawn.
Ooh, mine. That is an interesting drawing. It looks more like a David Shrigley original piece of art.
That's fucking bold, isn't it?
Okay. Go. So, all right. You want to go first?
So my
talk us through your pieces of artwork there.
That is my Mavic Chen style blindfolded Dalek.
I'm just going to
which just looks like a sweet
layout for a second so we can see it.
Okay, it just looks like a shit full of sweet corn. With like a TV aerial kind of over here for some reason, and just like little sticks sticking out of it.
Nah, that's pretty good. That's definitely.
And then for some reason, a tail. I think I was trying to draw the bumpers, and then I got distracted. I don't know.
Mine, I'm going to solo layout myself there for a second.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
See, I made the mistake of not just keeping it like all in one fluid movement and thinking I could identify where the skirt was.
Yeah,
that's your nose stock or your eye stock. Sorry, and that's your guns. That's this. So there we are. That's Midalek. So I guess that's going to be up to the Digestial Funmaker, who
it is. If he's still with us.
As Edgar Degas once said, it's not what you see, but what others see. Fair.
Yeah.
We're sorry, we can't return any of the Fine. Bury them in landfill. So it's up to the Digestial Funmaker.
Are we
is the winner there?
Are we just here drinking on YouTube with Lee and Derek? Because if that's the case, that's a lovely way to spend an evening.
And unnamed other as well. We have 3 viewers. We had as many as 7 at one point, and we've lost over 50%. That's the fun of me. Okay, now the thing. I don't know.
The thing. Yes, sorry. I'll read the thing out while Derek decides who won the art challenge, the Mavic Chen art challenge. So this will be for the next episode, which is in 2 weeks' time. And it's buy something or things Doctor Who related that cost no more than £5. Now, obviously, we've done something similar, but this has got a twist. But on eBay, so not charity shops, no County Wicklow furniture shops
Yeah.
on eBay. Okay. So basically, you should search for Doctor Who, then use the filters UK only, or Ireland only, I suppose, for you, Ben.
Well, no, I'm actually going back to Scotland very soon, so I can just have it delivered to my man dad's house for no extra
lovely
cost.
stuff. Buy it now, free postage and packaging, and then set the price between £0 and £5. There are over 10,000 lots to choose from. You can then click on different categories if you want. The best thing or things wins 3 points. That's fun. I'm getting back into eBay recently now that I've sort of started a Lego obsession. There's a lot of Lego behind this laptop. That's all I'll say.
This has been an enjoyable episode. I really...
It has been for us. I hope it's been for listeners as well. But I've really enjoyed this. It's been great. So we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with... the next 6 episodes of...
Let me think about the pictures. Send them to PGL Liddington. And I'll ask the kids.
I wasn't aware Greek teenagers were aware of Daleks, but...
Good episode, Lash lads. Enjoyed that. Looking forward to the Feast of Stephen revisitation next time.
So Lee of the Polish Box joined us many, many years ago for the last time we talked about the Feast of Stephen.
Yeah.
In the Beehive. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing the other 6 episodes of the Daleks Master Plan in 2 weeks' time, which is the...
No, I was going to say to you, it would be the 3rd of August, but I need to go back to Edinburgh on the night of the 3rd of August because my mum is having an operation. So I was going to say, Mark, would Wednesday the 2nd of August...
Wednesday the 2nd of August would be a delight.
That would be perfect. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back Wednesday the 2nd of August. That is when we're going to do it.
With some eBay purchases as well, hopefully.
Yes. Okay, so we'll have to come to Ireland then. But don't worry, we can make it happen. We can do it. Cool. All righty. Okay, Mark, it's been a pleasure. This has been great fun. I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to look forward to the next installment.
Yes, as always, it's been a pleasure. If you still want, you've still got time to get in your thoughts on the Daleks Master Plan. So you can give those to us on Twitter, on Facebook, email on the timelash@outlook.com. Can't remember the last time either of us checked that email, but we will for you. And to play us out, as ever, it's Mr. Kev McCulloch.
Let's go for the full theme. Let's do it. Let's do the full theme again.
Let's do it.
See you later.